Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife and Resources Agency.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. If you're still hung up on the hokey pokey, we'll try to explain that to you a little bit later in this segment. Closing out each segment with a Gene Smith pun can be very challenging, particularly to Dave Gabbard, who's trying to explain it to me. And for all you truck drivers driving down Interstate 55 and said, yes, he did mention hokey pokey. And so we'll try to understand that. But one thing that a lot of folks in this state, and I think in his 4 years with the TWRA, he has understood this, that the blind duck drawings, the duck blind drawings, and whatever you want to call them, have been big to-dos, particularly for our folks at Reelfoot and our folks at Big Sandy. And Dave Gabbard being one of my co-show hosts, I know that Dave has been involved in the one at Big Sandy, and now in these changing times, and it falls up on this young man to come up with plans. There's going to be something different again when we get to the time for our duck run. And in fact, they've already started on July 2nd, putting in your application. But we're happy to have on Outdoors with Larry Ray Jamie Fedderson. He is the migratory bird game coordinator for the TWRA. He's been in this position for 4 years after coming to the TWRA from Florida. And who better to talk about what COVID has done to also our duck blind and our sandhill crane tag. So good morning, Jamie.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
It's a long process here, but for the layman, I've posted this on my website, lroutdoors.com. I already got some folks commenting under my post when the news came out from the TWRA about the computerized drawing in place this year. Talk about what's going to happen and how we're going to do this thing.
Okay. Well, yeah, of course, everybody knows we're under some restrictions when it comes to COVID-19. We're under some group gathering size restrictions, and of course, y'all know, you go to Reelfoot, you go to Big Sandy, Old Hickory, some of these places we get, Big Sandy, we get more than 2,000 people showing up at that duck line drawing. So we knew that was going to be an issue. We started working on this a couple of months ago, trying to figure out the best way that we could continue issuing duck blinds for these hunt areas under gathering restrictions, and it became pretty obvious to us fairly quickly that we were not going to be able to do an in-person hand draw.
Yeah.
And so what we didn't want to do is we could have taken the easy way out and said, hey, you know what? Everybody who had a blind last year, you got the same blind this year. Well, that would have been the easy way out, and we certainly could have taken that route, but that's not fair. It's there's some tradition behind drawing the blind and some camaraderie about getting together and building the blind and all that stuff. And so we know that, and we kind of wanted to do something to try to make sure that we could do that. And what we came up with, the best thing that we could come up with on such short notice, and that's the other important thing. We didn't have a whole lot of time to develop this, is a computerized drawing for all of our duck blind areas.
Okay, yeah. And that's what we're going to end up with. And so starting July the 2nd, sportsmen can apply through the GoOutdoorsTN.com through July 26th. Is that right?
That is correct.
And we're going to have, 24 hunt locations. And the party, if I'm looking at this press release, hunters may only apply for one area and may apply as an individual or a party with a maximum of 8.
Right.
So
yeah. So let me just get some clarification on a couple of those things. What you're saying is absolutely correct. We're trying to keep things as similar as possible to the current process. So only being able to apply at one location. I mean, that's how it's always been. You couldn't be in two locations at the same time.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
So that's why, we kept it that way. You can only apply for one area. And as always, you can apply. It's a little bit difficult. I mean, we know that we've got this system of sign-ons, and if I get drawn, then we can have I can get Larry and Dave and Gene, we get you guys all to sign on my permit.
Yeah,
it's difficult the way our computer system is written right now.
Yeah,
it's difficult for us to do that without having you define your party at the very beginning.
At the beginning, so you got your 8 names right off the bat, right? I mean,
right, and that's the thing. If you want to make sure that you're getting everybody in your hunt party a permit to hunt that blind, so that you have the priority use of it.
One ticket in the barrel. Yeah, one ticket in the barrel.
That's the other thing too. Is that's the one, and I'd like to explain that too, because that's a thing that we've been getting some questions on since we announced this. It's probably the thing that's been most confusing.
Yeah.
Is that, if you are one person putting in, you get one ticket in the barrel. If you're a party of 8 or a party of 4 or a party of 3, you're still only getting one ticket in the barrel. Again, the way our computer system, the computer code is currently written,
okay,
that's what it allows for. Now, we could have done some of those things like trying to figure out a way that we can drop everybody's name in the bucket, and because computers are amazing things. They will do exactly what you want them to do if you tell them the right way to do it.
Yeah.
The problem is it takes time to write that code and test it and make sure it works.
And
we just didn't have that time. Sure. I mean, if we were doing this a year from now, we could write that code and test it and get it done and do it that way. But we didn't have time this time around. So we're doing what we can to have the fewest issues with issuing these things. The last thing I want is for the computer system to break or crash.
Oh, no,
because we asked it to do something that it wasn't ready to do.
Yeah. Well, again, we're talking to Jamie Fedderson, TWRA migratory bird coordinator, program coordinator, and talking primarily about the annual duck blind drawing, and we're not going to get into sandhill crane over here, even though I know I've got some friends that have been drawn twice for that. Dave Gabbert, you've been at this place, and I've been up there. 3,000 people at Sandhill, at Big Sandy, and things along that line. There's just no way to do it.
There's no way to do it. It's pretty tight quarters up there, and you couldn't get social distancing if you wanted to up there.
No way. And I know, Jamie, you have probably been to Big Sandy or a Real Foot, and you know this, and you've just inherited this, Jamie. Good for you. I mean, there's nobody else to pass the buck to. And we know as waterfowl hunters, change is hard for some of us, when you get down to it. But this is pretty simple, folks. Like I said, you can just go to this process that they have, gooutdoorstn.com. You can apply for that through July 26th. The blind construction deadline, they got all these things. Results will be available on August the 1st. Successful applicants will receive an electronic blind permit, and the blind construction deadline is October the 26th. So there's a lot of things to comprehend on this, Jamie, and on top of that, we're all expecting a booming duck season, right, in July?
Well, that's what we're hoping for. We're absolutely hoping for that. And what I'll say before you cut me loose is.
Hang on.
A lot of it doesn't change. Those the deadline for getting your blind.
It's the same. Yes.
That's all. That stuff's all the same.
Yeah.
It's just the process for which we're issuing it out is what's changing.
And
I would just ask everybody to be patient with us.
Yes.
Because
a waterfowl hunter. Did you say a waterfowl hunter be patient? I thought that's what he said.
Well, look,
Good luck. Good luck on that, Jamie. Okay.
As best as you can.
Yeah. So I got to ask you, and Dave and Gene are listening to this before we let you go. How much time? I mean, when COVID hit, how much time did y'all have to do this? Because you couldn't do this in a week. So
well, yeah. So what? COVID, we started getting gathering restrictions and things like that. In about late March?
Late March. So you had to come up with this by the commission meeting
in June.
In June. So you had 3 months to.
I'd say we started working on this sometime in April.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
sure.
Pretty amazing. Jamie, thank you. I know you're a busy man. Thank you for taking time. We'll get back with you, folks. Again, I have all this on my website, lroutdoors.com. Be patient, as Jamie says. Well,
yeah, please.
Let me know how that works.
Patience and understanding.
Yeah, we're not going to give your cell phone out, Jamie. Okay, don't worry about that. Okay, buddy. Thanks for being with us.
That.
All right, thank you, man. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
All right. Okay, Jamie Fedderson. All right, Dave, before we close out, I got to hear from you. I did the best I can in a short period of time. Would you say that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's because it'd be interesting. Maybe we can get somebody on. I haven't heard how the crop.
Yes, yeah, we're going to do that first Saturday in August. Hard to believe it. That.
Yeah, okay.
Y'all will be back with us on that. We're going to talk about that. All right, Gene Smith. Before I talk about next week, which I have nothing to talk about, how about another pun?
All right. This friend of mine has a police dog.
Okay.
And the police dog wanted to join the FBI.
Oh, right.
So he went to the personnel manager, and the guy said, well, there's several things you have to do before you can become the FBI.
Yeah.
Of course, they said, all right, the first thing to do, you have to type 60 words per minute. Well, when the dog sit down by the computer, he typed 80 words a minute.
The dog
and the guy
did.
said, oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So they said the next thing you got to do, you got to have physical and endurance.
Yes.
So sure enough, the dog passed that with flying colors.
Okay.
He said, well, it's one more requirement. It's pretty tough. You got to be bilingual.
Uh-oh.
So the German Shepherd said, meow.
Boy ain't right.
The boy is not right, but who else cares? Thank you, Gene, for your words of wisdom there. Dave, have a great time on this July 4th weekend up at Natchez Trace, your family and everything. And
well, I'm gonna have to. When I hang up, I'm gonna have to cook breakfast for the crowd.
Get on after them, buddy. You're always cooking. That's for sure. Well, I ain't got nothing to cook. Shelby, thank you for taking care of us. We'll be back here next week. Ron Wong, John Gordon will be my co-host. A lot of surprise guests. Can't wait to talk next week as we close in on show number 500. Dave, Gene, appreciate you guys. And what do we always say? Doesn't cost an extra cent to be a good sport. And what else?
God
bless the USA.